Ever since I was a little girl, I've always turned to art as my way of relaxing. I've found it the most therapeutic and enjoyable thing I ever do. I'm Emily Parr, and for the last few years I've been part of the community curators in Knowsley. It's a project that's in line with the Shakespeare North Playhouse. When we first met a few years ago, the volunteers were split into three groups: the bespoke creatives, the researchers and the town criers who were doing the publicity element. So I signed up to do the arty stuff and become one of the bespoke creatives, and as part of that I was asked to create designs for an embroidery banner that's going to be hanging in the foyer of the Playhouse. I was given a load of portraits and old images from the Prescot maps and things associated with theatrical history, but also the local history of the town. And from that, create some designs which people could easily replicate in embroidery thread. So it's Elizabethan black work, which means it's not coloured tapestry, it's just black thread on white cloth. So the designs had to be really simple. And there's lots of volunteers in the community who are each going to thread a part of it based on my designs. And they're all going to be joined together and create this huge banner that's going to be hung. So it's quite exciting. All of my designs are trying to be as simple as possible so that they can be easily replicated in black thread on cloth. To imagine them there looking quite traditional and authentic to the time as well, even though they're essentially a modern piece of art, will be really interesting. I went about doing about 40 images of all these different things associated with the town and history. So this is who was known as Lord Strange. He was actually the 5th Earl of Derby, but he was only the 5th Earl of Derby for about 7 months. He was a real supporter of Shakespeare's work. He funded a lot of his work, one of his patrons, and he's said to have died in very mysterious circumstances, so he's a bit of a colourful character. It also represents town life, and also some images associated with the theatre and Shakespeare in general. Also Thomas Kemble, so some of the streets around here are named after these famous figures, aren't they? So I've got one of Kemble playing Hamlet as well. This is Elizabeth de Vere, and that was her maiden name. She was the daughter of Elizabethan poet Edward de Vere, and she married into the Stanley family. She married William, who was the 6th Earl of Derby, and their wedding is said to have been one of the possible inspirations for Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. You could easily make a film out of all the characters and the history associated with it. So back in the 1500s, there was a unique early form of town government called court leet. They were the local government, and they were asked to record all details about local history at the time on these big scrolls. And these scrolls, because they were so huge, they were kept in this town chest, which is on display in Prescot Museum. And on these scrolls were all the details of events and everything that was happening at the time. And it's from these scrolls we know that there was a theatre in Prescot. So it's a really important piece of Prescot history, this chest, because of all of the information that was contained within it. It's kind of unbelievable to think some of my little cartoony sketches might have reached the status of being hung in a theatre. That's really exciting, and I can't quite believe it even now, actually. And the thought that it will have been transformed into this old traditional craft as well is really exciting.